Dakar, Senegal, July 17, 2025. In a move that marks the end of an era, France has officially withdrawn its last remaining permanent military forces from West Africa, bringing a close to more than 120 years of continuous military presence on the continent. The withdrawal from Senegal, a former French colony, signals a powerful geopolitical and symbolic shift as the region redefines its relationship with its former colonial power. The final phase of the French withdrawal concluded with a formal handover ceremony at Camp Gile, a French military compound near Dakar and the adjoining Air Force Base. This event, conducted with ceremonial precision and diplomatic gravity, was attended by top-ranking Senegalese officials, French military personnel, and invited international observers. Senegalese Defense Minister Birahim Diouf hailed the withdrawal as a new dawn for national defense strategy and sovereignty. The move fulfills a campaign promise by Senegal's President Bassirou Diomaye Faye, who was elected in 2024 on a platform centered around Pan-Africanism, economic independence, and rejection of foreign military presence. "We are not rejecting cooperation," President Faye stated in April, "but we are asserting that cooperation must respect our autonomy and must be on our terms." For decades, France maintained a web of military bases across Africa under the guise of defense partnerships, a system that allowed Paris to swiftly intervene in regional conflicts. Troops were stationed in Senegal, Mali, Niger, Chad, Ivory Coast, and Burkina Faso, often with the intent to counter terrorism and maintain political stability. But over time, these deployments have come under increasing scrutiny, both domestically in France and among African populations, many of whom viewed them as extensions of neocolonial control. Between 2021 and 2025, anti-French protests surged across multiple nations, fueled by social media, youth-led activism, and rising Pan-African sentiment. The tipping point came with the 2022 coup in Burkina Faso, followed by similar military transitions in Mali and Niger. These juntas, led by charismatic young officers, expelled French troops and welcomed Russian military advisors and Wagner-linked security contractors. France's withdrawal from Senegal, long considered its most stable and cooperative partner, now completes this regional unraveling. Senegal, often lauded as one of West Africa's most democratic and stable nations, made headlines last year when President Faye declared foreign military bases incompatible with Senegal's independence. According to General Mbaye Cissé, Senegal's Chief of Defense Staff, the new geopolitical reality demands that African nations no longer depend on foreign armies to guarantee our safety. We have the capacity, and more importantly, the will, to protect our people. Senegalese authorities confirmed that all assets previously managed by the French military, vehicles, radar systems, infrastructure, will be transitioned into Senegalese command. Training operations, which had been conducted by French personnel, will now be handled through regional cooperation platforms under the ECOWAS umbrella and through select partnerships with countries like Turkey and Brazil. France's retreat from West Africa is not an isolated move. It reflects a broader rejection of Western military presence in the Sahel. In Mali, the military government expelled French and UN troops, inviting Russian support and localizing its counterterrorism efforts. In Burkina Faso, President Ibrahim Traoré has not only cut ties with France, but also launched a propaganda campaign celebrating a post-colonial African renaissance. Niger, once a linchpin of French security operations, saw its own military leaders cut ties with Paris in 2023. The result is a region in transition, seeking new alliances, asserting new identities, and pursuing a form of self-governance that resonates with their populations, particularly their youth. Political analysts warn, however, that these shifts bring risks as well as opportunities. While the desire for sovereignty is legitimate and overdue, notes Sahel security analyst Fatima Doumbia, the loss of logistical support, intelligence sharing, and counterterrorism expertise from France could create a vacuum, one that groups like Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb, AQGM, and ISIS-affiliated cells are eager to exploit. One major benefactor of France's exit is Russia, whose presence in the Sahel has rapidly expanded through informal security deals, arms trade, and media propaganda. In Burkina Faso, Russian flags have become common at pro-government rallies. In Mali, Russian military equipment, including helicopters and surveillance drones, has replaced much of the hardware once provided by France. France has accused Russia of destabilizing influence, while Moscow maintains that it is only supporting African countries that choose independent paths. The withdrawal from Senegal complicates France's ability to monitor and influence events in the Sahel. According to French officials, future engagement will be limited to non-permanent, partner-led operations. In place of long-term bases, France's new Africa strategy focuses on training and logistics support on demand, specialized counterterrorism missions launched only when requested, and cultural diplomacy and economic partnerships, aiming to soften France's image after years of criticism. French Defense Minister Sébastien Lecornu emphasized that the withdrawal does not mean abandonment. We are not turning our back on Africa. We are transitioning to a model based on respect, mutual need, and sovereignty. France's departure from Senegal has symbolic and practical implications far beyond West Africa. The EU and NATO must now reevaluate their Africa policies. The US AFRICOM may find itself under more pressure to fill the gap, or retreat as well. China, with its increasing military and commercial presence, is likely to expand its influence further. Meanwhile, African civil societies and media outlets are seizing the moment to call for more transparent governance, better security outcomes, and the redirection of military budgets toward healthcare, education, and youth employment. As France lowers its flag over Camp Gile, the final chapter of its military presence in West Africa quietly closes. But for the region, and especially for Senegal, this is the beginning of a new story, one marked by ambition, risk, and the ongoing quest for full sovereignty. Whether this new era leads to greater peace and prosperity remains to be seen. What is certain is that the old order is gone, and Africa is charting its own course.